and then we can select a new country again. Now we see that the open tender is now the open tender Bulgaria page. We can also see it in the HTML, and now we can go to search again. But now let's pick not buyers but suppliers. Again, the filtering results are remembered of my last time I visited the site. So you might have some different filters already selected, but you can just come here, select the city, select integrity indicator, composite score, and then continue with me from this point forward. The one thing I added is that I really wanted to check one specific supplier. Again, selected for educational purposes, but I selected this buyer, which directly translates to like Georgi Christoph Ati, or something very, very similar, I hope. But basically, what we will see here is a different story. What we have seen in the buyer side is that I selected a very large buyer with a lot of information and a lot of mixed conclusions that could be drawn from. And now I selected a small buyer that will just select. Once you click on search, you'll see a lot of buyers with similar names. I will just select the first supplier, and then we'll see that this is indeed a small supplier with 7 tenders in its whole life cycle. But this is also an edge case or a use case that could be used to identify some very specific actors, even if they are small, and draw some meaningful conclusions even on this scale. So I will talk less about the structure of the supplier page because it is very similar to the buyer page. We see the transparency indicators, we see the integrity indicators, we see these trends over time, which is shortened because the buyer has only 7 tenders distributed among 3 years. And the number of tenders by sectors will be very uninteresting as well because this is an agriculture, forestry, and so on focused supplier. What's more important is that if you are interested in the main buyers, you can check them. You can see that it is not a very evident case, so it's not just one buyer buying from this one supplier, but there are some variation in this indicator as well. And finally, we'll see the benchmarking, which could be more interesting if we select integrity indicators. Again, we go to the comparison group and select the most relevant comparison group, and we can see that while, as opposed to all Bulgarian tenders in these years, we can see that there is a huge gap. If we limit to the agricultural sector, we can see that they are now way closer to the average that are expected, and which means that maybe it would have been a hasty conclusion to say that, okay, so this is a special case we need to investigate here. But it's also important to note that while the averages are the averages of all the other tenders, so a few thousand, few 100,000, maybe sometime somewhere between them, the supplier specific columns are based on 3, and 1 tenders. So also you have to keep this in mind when you are investigating small suppliers and/or buyers, that these could be a bit misleading because the smaller your number of observations are, the less direct impact or direct conclusions might be drawn based on the raw data. And finally, we can see the tenders as well, similarly to the buyer page that I already showed you. And now here you can also remove add table columns. I've added the final price and integrity, and I just wanted to quickly check, because now we see all 7 tenders on the same page. I wanted to quickly check whether the higher the final price is, the lower the integrity was, or any other assumptions or conclusions that can be drawn based on these 2 columns specifically. And my main conclusion is that no, we don't see that integrity just goes from low integrity to high integrity as we go from large contracts to small contracts. We see that it is mixed. We don't see any quite unusual and systematic evidence that these large contracts could be more prone to corruption with the specific buyer. So there might be no real stories here hidden. But if you want to go further, you can just check the lowest integrity contracts first. You can see whether they are from the same buyer. Again, we see that the 3 least integrity scores are from the same buyer. So this could be some grounds for further investigation. But on a larger scale, this could be true as well. And if you want to investigate this for large firms where you can't visually check by your eye in this page, you can always download the data with the specifications and columns you already selected. So this is what I've mentioned previously. This is a very important part where you can download and do your own data visualizations, manipulations, indicator selection, and the creation, anything you'd like, strengthening your case.